What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of DaGamer Podcast. I am your host, Antonius DaGamer, with my two co-hosts, Super SSS Rank and Mikkel Smith. Fellas, welcome back for another episode. Salutations. Hello, konnichiwa. We're just going to go ahead and get right into it like we've been in the last couple of weeks. The first topic that we've been discussing over the group chat, and I wanted to definitely beat the game first before we really kind of dove into the IP. Is Final Fantasy as a franchise dying? Now, to give context, there's been a couple of sales reports, especially over the past year or so, past couple of months, in regards to Final Fantasy as a franchise. Final Fantasy 16 had some strong initial sales upon release, and since then has been kind of fighting. I can't say fighting for its life, but definitely fighting to kind of maintain that sales figure, even with DLC being released as recent as last week. Mm-hmm. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the part 2 of the remake to one of the most well-known Final Fantasy entries of all time, is actually right now selling worse than remake. It's part 1. And people are starting to wonder, what is it? Is it the general reception to the game, even though it's critically reviewed very, very well, and it's getting 8 out of 10s, 9 out of 10s. The Metacritic on it is very high. Right, so it's not something where the game was polarizing in terms of reviews. Is it the install base of the PS5, or does not enough people have a PS5 to kind of warrant the sales figures? Is it the console exclusivity? What is it that you guys think is contributing to Final Fantasy as a whole, before we get into Rebirth? Slow but steady decline. I mean, 15 didn't sell that well either.
I think it's the burnout.
Final Fantasy 15?
Mm-hmm. I think it's the burnout.
15.
Okay.
I think it's the burnout. And I started to see this wave from, I would say, probably from 13 onward to where we are now. There's a particular burnout that is starting to build up from these series, because it's becoming apparent, man. You need a cutoff point. You genuinely need just a cutoff point. And like, to me, I would have ended this with the remake, the crown jewel. So let's give you that high def experience of reliving this legendary tale that is like I said, it crossed multiple platforms. Remember having children, on Blu-ray, so many other things. And I do kind of feel like Final Fantasy's hit a particular point where they just need to end things. They really do. It's a burnout. It's a series burnout, bro, because it's like, yes, we love it. But, like I said, at a certain point, you just overstay your welcome. And, a prime example will be Pokemon right now. Pokemon is in a very, very, very interesting limbo because, as of now, we have no yearly installment for this year. We have the new Legends game, which is something that, a lot of people have been asking for because it hits harder in terms of story and creativity. But it's like, yeah, bro, but they said 2025.
Right. Which is good given the steady decline of that series of like, we need something, give it some time to cook whatever you guys are working on. But go ahead.
But then it also goes back to Jory's point about hardware because, Scarlet Invited had a lot of technical issues. Like, there's some YouTube clips. I literally see the person, the video is about to stream, like, this is about to crash. And it goes back to, yes, now we need more time for things. So, but then Pokemon has always has such a high demand for the next best thing. So yeah, man, everything is in a very interesting place for these long-term series.
Okay. Do you feel like the burnout, and then Joy, I want to get your opinion on it too. Do you feel like the burnout is due to a lack of innovation, right? I think to your point, I think Pokemon, that's been its issue, right? It's been the same formula that we've had since me, and Jory were all 5, 6, 7 years old, right? Where it's the same, even when they remix it a bit like this, it's the same feel. Whereas Final Fantasy, to its credit, has done something different. I want to say at least since 7 on. Like, every single game is there's some familiar elements, but 16 was an action game. 14 is a online based game. 15 is more of a extended narrative game. Like you can tell that they've tried something different each time they've approached a Final Fantasy. So where do you feel like the burnout is coming from?
I would say open world. I also feel like we have a lot of burnout from open world games in general. And I would say that because, they throw in the human element, bro. Like, bro, life is changing, man, in terms of, as young adults, as we enter in this world and stuff like that, there's a lot of things that are occupying our attention. So it's like now we have to like pencil in time for video games now these days. Like, oh, how many hours I want to spend on this today? How long? How far do I want to go? Like, even when you mentioned in the group chat when you beat the game, I was like, bro, I missed that post beating the game fatigue. I missed that. I want to get back into that lifestyle, but it's just like, bro, life is so demanding. So I feel like the human elements of life also are playing a role. To be fair,
Like the audience is kind of like the target audience, I should say, is like they're in a different place in their lives to even approach this.
Yes.
Like, I got 2 hours tonight and I can't spend it on this 60-hour game. I'm going to go play whatever. I'm going to go play Call of Duty with the boys or whatever, maybe, or 2K with the boys.
And, we also got to understand, bro, the price tag of this particular generation is also playing a role now, man. Video games are investments right now. So people are really watching that. Well, all right, so yeah, I want to buy this, but what is really the long-term benefit of me buying this?
I'm glad you said that because I'm gonna give a perspective that's a little different.
Okay.
Tim, you're right. The price point cut off a lot of people from buying, especially in today's time. That's where half of your I guarantee you that's where half of your sales went. Me buying a game that's $70, shoes on sale are $70. Gas is $70, depending on how big your car is. Your light bill on its best day, $70. Your phone bill, $70. It's not 50. It's 50 plus 25 more. And people are seeing how much they spend in a day. That's not encouraging. Those prices are not encouraging. So for a lot of people, they said, man, I'm gonna get this game when it's on sale. And when it's on sale, $50 is now the sale point. When I'm like, no, man, these companies have to these imaginary. Let me see how much money I can make within 2 weeks. These companies need to get out of that. That's for a elect few. That's not the ruler you should measure a company's success by, because it's very foolish. There's so many variables now. You have to understand that it's going to be a slower outcome of returns. I absolutely think Final Fantasy is going to sell amazing. It's not going to sell amazing within this ruler that they have. This ruler doesn't make any. Where did it come from? Because back in the days, you had a system to where VHS movies took time. Nobody expected to get these things instant. It was not going to be instant gratification. These companies want to keep up with the Joneses. It's not a real. The problem is that they don't get it as soon as they want it. That's the problem. Because Final Fantasy is not. It's a great game. I believe people want to get the game when they see it on Twitter. It's the price point. Do I spend it on groceries, or do I spend it on this electronic game that's asking me for more money plus DLC? Right?
But
no, that's just one part of my pie. That's one.
Okay.
Second point, the means of which I have to play it. I can't take it with me on the go. Japan is on a different revolution now. The handhelds is convenient. Me taking my game with me. That's why Microsoft is trying to have you can play a game anywhere. Just log in. You know what I'm saying? That's why Microsoft is trying to free itself from a stationary home, because if you can't even be home while you're playing, what's the point? And that's why that's why the success of certain things skyrocket on the Switch, because it's more accessible. I think Final Fantasy as a franchise, it also has this problem of timing, delivery. Final Fantasy 15 took years to come out, and when it finally did, like, the story's all over the place. That's
Right.
one.
It's incomplete. You
It's
got to watch this
incomplete.
movie.
You
You got
gotta
to
watch
get
this
3
movie.
different packs of
3
DLC.
even packs of DLC. Wait, what the heck? He can't see anymore? What happened? Oh, find out on the next episode of DLC after you beat the game. No, right? And now you Square Enix does something that's like pretty nonsensical with 14 and I think also 16 kind of trifled stop because it's like, man, which do I get, 16 or Rebirth? You have 2 of the same games on the same market within the same year. I think that's a no.
Well, technically, if you think about it, it was almost a full calendar year before we got Rebirth.
Yeah,
Because
but
16 came out like last March, and then we got
okay, Rebirth after that.
Rebirth on Leap Day of this
Okay,
year.
okay. So even with that, 16 didn't help the usher in the sales because it gave everybody mixed feelings, and mixed feelings is a no. Why am I gonna spend mixed feelings on a $70 price tag?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You could do that with 50. Oh, okay, but $60. I'll think about it. I'll wait a week.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'll get it. But 70 plus tax, so 75 really? Nah, man. I just think it's a accumulation of those things. It's the price tag. You have the accessibility. People want to take their games on the go. With the rise of these rogue allies, Steam decks, it's proven that it's actually better for the adults. I could be at work, 15-minute break, 2-minute break. Let me move left in this game. Let me move right. Let me make it to at least bring it to town, and then I turn it off. You know, versus you have that. Then you have the price tag. Then you have the effect of Final Fantasy. I think the open world game fails because it's not doing anything open. Me and you, when we go out, we know where we can go to Aventura as its own stage. There's things to do, right? You have to find things to do in your open world game. It has to be its own ecosystem. You know, nobody complains about Grand Theft Auto. Oh man, I'm bored. No, Grand Theft Auto is a self-sustaining organism in itself. You can do that with your world. You can do that with your world. Again, you can't go off of these expectations that these companies they want to make $2 billion within 3 days. Stop. It's not a. No, but you get what I'm saying? Is it feasible? That's what we want. I'm like, as a company, it's just moronic.
But it's what you're saying still kind of ties back to my question, even with your points, because I agree with you. I actually have no rebuttal to anything you're saying. My only thing with that is, well, then how do you explain that in the context of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right? Because just not even a few months ago, Spider-Man 2 does 2 million copies in like 3 days. Still has the same issues that would be happening on Final Fantasy. Console exclusive. Took years to get a sequel, right? You can't take it on the go. All of those issues still moves over 2 million copies in 3 days. And not only that, sure, Spider-Man is one of the most iconic superheroes of all time.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Well, okay, fair. However, it's Final Fantasy VII. Even if you've never played the game a day in your life, if someone said, if you're a gamer who's played games for more than 5 to 10 years, if someone says Cloud Strife or Sephiroth, you know exactly who that is.
There's like a disdain for Eastern properties right now that's building up. A low, subtle disdain for Eastern properties. And what do I mean? I that's what I believe. I think so because it just doesn't make any sense. For example, why are certain games selling better on the PlayStation versus on the Xbox? When I'm like, yo, this is why your system is not being favored by people. You don't have any access to any Japanese games and good ones at that. You know what I'm saying? I just think I feel like the mindset of the people purchasing these consoles on certain platforms, they're just not open. So I think, as iconic as me and you enjoy JRPGs, you know what I'm saying? But some people want that old rustic Fallout, terrible animation, you know.
I get that. I
Elder
think that's why.
Scrolls.
I think that's why it's such a topic, though, right? I think, right, with 16, even though, yes, it's still a Final Fantasy, right? 16 is still technically a quote unquote new IP. Again, because Final Fantasy is always doing something different every game. This isn't like a 15 plus or whatever. Like, it's a completely different character, completely different setting, everything. There's Final Fantasy staples, right? The summons, certain character names are still kind of carried over, but a completely different world. So I get that not necessarily connecting with people. But again, to Tim's initial point, we're talking about a game where there's been movies, there's been mobile games, there's been side stories that have sold well. People fell in love with Zack just off of a little mini side cartoon and Crisis Core. That's it. That's it. And now they're like, Zack is one of the greatest characters. He's Cloud, but interesting. So it's like, yeesh.
Yeah, that's true. But hey, but the original voice actor for he did a great job. You know,
For Zack, yeah.
the original, not the.
No, I know. What in
Not
the world is happening? I'm like,
not this Disney, not this Disney guy, man. But the thing is, and there was a lot of advertisement for that build-up. Like, look at Kingdom Hearts. Look at how they did Cloud. You know what I'm saying? We get to fight Cloud. Those were unexpected jewels and treats. You know, I think I think with Rebirth, man, it's just the timing. You know, the price point. It's steep, man. It's not like it's not even because the best case scenario during the time Final Fantasy Rebirth, not Rebirth, but Remake dropped. It's a COVID game. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and maybe
right.
maybe
I've seen that argument, but like it's a COVID game of one of the most iconic games of all time.
Yeah, and
to go back to Jory's point, I do feel like there will be build up as the summer hits. Because like I said, life changes around seasons. So summer, winter, I do feel like there will be spikes, and that's natural in the gaming world. I remember a couple of podcasts back. Remember what we said for The Last of Us Part 1. Remember they said digital sales went up when the show came around because new people were introduced into this world. So now they're playing the first one, and so then of course all right, well, I want to prepare for season 2, so I'm going to play part 2 right now. Okay, cool. Oh, I heard there was a multiplayer portion of it, but then I heard that they're no longer doing the multiplayer after that. So all right, so let me get the remastered version. Yes, people would probably just buy it just to play the multiplayer aspect of it. So it's layers. It's really layers. So you go
not to mention.
Okay.
Not to mention the net for Final Fantasy VII wasn't as wide as it could be. Right? It's on the PlayStation only. It didn't get the first PC launch, or it's not even on Xbox, or it won't make it on the Switch. You know what I'm saying?
Never.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
never.
It's. I think with Final Fantasy, in today's age, you'd have to cast your net a lot wider for a franchise that big. That's why that's why personally, when Microsoft made the purchase of Blizzard, I don't want Starfield to be exclusive for PlayStation. It's too big of an IP. Maybe because it's too big of an IP for them. They built it to be big. It's a full pizza. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense for me to feed it to this one kid. He's not going to eat all the pizza. I might as well just share it. So then now the pizza for maximum profit. It just for a game that big, you can't just now make Fallout. It doesn't make any sense to do it. Like, I'm not going to buy. I think what you guys are saying.
I think what you guys are saying is a good point, right? And I think to your point, Jory, what you said about Spider-Verse, at first I was like, right, and then when Tim brought up The Last of Us, I was like, okay, I think I'm starting to see
Spider-Verse saying. It's like a lot.
You're right,
and it was great.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That makes a lot of sense. It's like Final Fantasy, even though it's a great world, even though it might still have some legs on it in terms of longevity, it is very self-contained to the gaming space, right? Nobody outside of gamers, even though again in that game community, and people know what it is, there is no Netflix Final Fantasy VII. There is no new series.
Look at Sonic. Keanu
There's
Reeves'
no other
shadow.
there's no other branches of media that ties you back into Final Fantasy VII other than nostalgia.
Yeah,
You know?
because somebody a Pokemon YouTuber brought this up, like, one of the the shifty things about no new Pokemon as of recently, because you remember Pokemon, the release of the game influences the card series. Like, okay, so no new Pokemon, that means no new cards. No new cards of Pokemon, no new this, no new that, no new merchandise, no this, no that. So it's just right now everything is just a recycled. Oh yeah, here's Mewtwo and Charizard again.
Oh yeah. Don't
Yeah.
you worry, them figure arts of Mega Blastoise and Mega Charizard's coming, bro. They're gonna
And
get their
But
merchandise.
see, and then and the thing about it is, like, especially with that recent announcement, you brought so much hype back because people feel like now they're finally listening. Oh, Mega Evolution is back. Because to be honest, like, yeah, they realized the gimmicks, they're not working. The only thing that stood the
they're
test of time is regional variants and Mega Evolution. All this
they're
other extra stuff,
they're
throw it away.
nonsensical. They're nonsensical because they were never present in any of the continuity. You can imagine an EX form because it just makes more sense within the ecosystem of Pokemon. If they can evolve, why can't they EX? But they can
Right.
turn, well, like the writing of, oh, this Giganto form kaiju battle. It never existed.
Where did
You
this
know what I'm
come
saying?
from? Yeah.
Where did this come from?
Where did the crystallization property take
Watch.
place?
They only took in one episode. Remember the episode with the giant Dragonite from the lighthouse? That was
Oh
like in the
yeah.
first season. Hence Gigantamax. And then the Crystal Onyx from the Orange Islands. Remember, there's like they shot water at it. I was like, oh, but why is it not weakened? Oh, because it was an ice onyx. An ice Terra Onyx. That's the reason why the dude's Charmeleon flamethrower worked. But then I was like, bro, that was something years ago that a lot of people of a certain generation don't know.
Right. Right. Why would it connect?
But then, like I
I
said, in terms of, and you brought this up, like in terms of Pokemon biggest strength right now, it should, like, continue to focus on story and gameplay. And that's what I said, bro. Mega Evolution, that's what it brought. My boy Sceptile finally got that dragon type.
but
Beast.
I guess to that point, Tim, right? Do you I guess is it one of those things where some of these games where they're in the space so long that people forget, right? Like I look at, for example, one of the things that I've seen people say about Rebirth was that for as great as a game as Rebirth is, it's not beginner friendly at all. Like to really understand what's happening, you have to play like 5 different games. It's almost like Kingdom Hearts. Like you have to play like 5 different games to really understand what's happening.
That's
You
not good.
can't start a remake
What's
because it's a
materia?
sequel.
What's
Yeah.
materia? What is materia? What's material? What's the live stream?
Right.
So someone type it live stream Final Fantasy VIII. Doesn't exist.
Well, no, it does exist, but there's a wiki of like, well, which story are we talking about? Are we talking about the before crisis, the ever crisis, the crisis core reunion? Talking about the OG? You talking about average children? Like it's.
And then now the thing is, for me, my introduction to Final Fantasy, as tragic as it is Average Children. And so, yeah, guess what? There's Average Children babies. And so, yeah, and there's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. I know about Final Fantasy, but I just couldn't play it because it was an RTS game. But when somebody said, hey, Jory, man, hold this DVD. I said, kid, Final Fantasy, what they going to wait to attack? He said, no, watch it. I saw that thing, what? I said, hey, can I get busy like this? So I went to go play the game.
Your turn. Now my turn. Now my turn again. Now your turn.
Nah. But when I went back to Final Fantasy Average Children, I said, oh, they getting busy like this? That's a bike? Wait, he got 7 swords in one? Oh, nah. Listen, you think I care about Cloud? You think I care about that Angel Blade? Throw that trash in the can. Okay, go make it, go 3D print that thing, man. I don't care about that thing, no how. I want the fusion sword. The Gogeta blade.
Yeah.
The Vegeta blade. The Vegito blade. Kid, I don't care about that stuff, man. Dog, you go, so now I don't have access to that. Kid, homie better write. he better find a way to write that in. I want that better be the ending. They wind up in that universe, and then you get future Barrett. Because why do it? Barrett and his new gun. Oh man, you know what you could do with that.
Well, it's funny you say that. I'm going to bring that up when we talk about Rebirth specifically. There's a couple of things where I was like, oh man,
yeah. So now for me, I think you're right, man. It's too spread out. That's not the best way to do stories. It kills Halo. It kills Gears of War. It kills Resident Evil. You can only do this with games that are constructed like that, like an Elden Ring, to where you have to read item descriptions, and it's fine because that's pretty. They kind of created to be a tabletop lore hunter game, which is fine. Like Warhammer's that way as well. You know what I'm saying? Not to speak on it already because the controversy going on, but it's that type of game to where it's lore heavy,
right? It's self-contained, but the deeper you go, the more it reveals about that world. That makes sense.
It's the same thing that is going on with Star Wars. Star Wars is interesting outside of the Luke Skywalker story. They can go ahead and rest on that mountain and never come back. And Star Wars would be 20 times more interesting. You know what I'm saying? But they don't explore these things, right? I don't even think Outlaws should have existed. They should have just made Outlaws Rogue
One.
No, not Rogue One. They should have made they should have fused Kyle Kestis and that she should have been a character in addition too. It just doesn't. I'm like, yo, Kyle right now, he's the most interesting Jedi in my opinion in a video game. I don't care about Scar Killer. He could pull a
fleet ship by himself.
Yeah, by himself.
Technically, he's not canon.
And now he's not canon. Don't you think? Like, there's some of the stories, and that was a great story in Fallen Jedi Survivor. But I gotta fight Dante, not Dante, lightsaber man, and it was a horrible fight. You know. But I think that's what's going on with these games. The story's too spread out, man.
Makes sense.
It's spilled milk, spilled water.
The barrier of entry is a little wild. Of like,
and it's not.
I have to play how many games for this random character that makes sense?
You're advertising this. This is for the core fans. To them, you sound like Vince McMahon. This is for the core fans, and people are like, man, I just want to play the game. I don't even know what's going on.
Right.
You know, that's just not what they should have just play it. Then the person's interest will start because in Elden Ring, stuff just happens. Yo, why did this happen? They read the item description. Now you have people who never played video games automatically boom because of their YouTube channels because they genuinely love the property,
the lore and everything,
and that's what the first Final Fantasy did. So why you guys just repeat it? You know, just repeat the same marketing because it works. The less you got to give people a good entry point. And I just think with Pokemon, you know, even though that's not a part of the topic, Pokemon's problem, it comes out too frequently, right? And you guys don't spend enough time trying to innovate. Let's be real.
They do. They just innovate in the wrong ways. They're innovating. It's just not in the right things.
Do you know how much creatures exist in this world and new discovery of animals?
Right.
You go back to formula. Animals are very interesting.
Here's this sentient mop. Here's this sentient chandelier. Here's this sentient.
What are we doing? Now we playing Beauty and the Beast with these like. What are we doing? What are we doing?
The teapot Pokemon.
The teapot Pokemon. It hides in an attic because it looks just, and it's not even creative, man.
All right, I think those are fair points. I think I didn't really consider the whole extended media world of especially for Final Fantasy VII. Of like, you need that to kind of streamline a lot of this lore.
And if you don't go into Advent Children for this one, then what reunion we talking about?
Sonic is a prime example because look, all right, so Sonic Prime Season 2 just finished. Big highlights on Shadow, and guess what's next? The movie. And then guess what's probably going to come after right after that? The game.
The Generations
Sonic
remaster.
just it lines up, man. It's multiple things that are boosting up each other that are in sync with each other.
And did you hear what they said they're gonna do for the third movie?
Yeah,
It
it's
said
borrowing
we're
heavily
pulling.
from Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh,
Yep.
it's a wrap.
Yeah.
That game as a movie? Oh, it's
Also,
a
is
wrap.
Jim Carrey's last performance. Jim Carrey's last performance. He said he's ready to retire.
Out of here.
So
Out
of
of here from
course
jump.
he's going out with a bang.
Yeah, out
Dr.
of here.
Eggman.
Mm-hmm. Out of here.
Which is a performance I really enjoy, man. To be honest with you, I thought it was genius, man.
Yeah, it was great.
And I didn't think Idris Elba was gonna win me over like that as Knuckles, but even in the show, he's becoming the character's actually becoming.
Oh, that's another thing. His show, like bro, like I said, it's building momentum on a very
Keanu Reeves' Shadow.
seasonal, consistent basis, bro. And you need these multiple different properties. Like, yes, Resident Evil has their animation, but then some of these side stories is like, okay, bro, this holds no weight into the world.
Shark,
it's a little ridiculous, but
zombie
it's a little ridiculous. But to your guys' point, it helps, right? Because even though we're like, this last movie was kind of the next movie drops, like, well, I'll still watch it. Maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised.
They were just flexing. Oh yeah, these are the new character designs for the characters that's going to be in the next game.
Yeah, but like you said, it still ties back.
Like I said, oh yeah, here's this new design for Chris. Okay, Resident Evil 5.
Get ready, prepare yourselves.
Rebecca's coming back, right? All that stuff, man.
All right. I think we can regress the topic a little further. I do want to kind of get into Rebirth now that I pushed through to finish the game, and I can give you guys my thoughts. And I mean, again, given that perspective that you guys said about the greater medium, like, man, that does make a lot of sense why this game, that is so critically acclaimed, is just not hitting with the mainstream. It's too niche at this point. It's not. There's no mainstream appeal to it. Having beat it, I beat it at just under 95 hours, and that was with not completing all the side quests, not unlocking all the final limit breaks. That was, not unlocking like the hidden summon. That's just me mostly doing story, a couple of side quests, and a couple of weapon level ups. 95 hours. Now, for context, I've also had the game for 2 months. So that should tell you. Like, so when I was sending y'all those tweets, I'm like, yeah, I beat it in like a week. I'm like, bro, you didn't sleep. You didn't use the bathroom. Probably didn't shower. Because I don't, there's no way. There's no way. It took me 2 months to beat the main story.
But bro, you remember when we were in our teenage, early 20s, we used to do that. So that's what I said, bro. Life is changing, bro. Like life is changing, bro. We can't sit in front of a TV for that long no more.
Yeah, bro. At a certain point, I'm like, yo, Cloud is turning into two different people. I gotta go to sleep. I can't.
No, we can't do that because we got life. About to show up like Mr. X in Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So it's not even that we don't want to, man. Trust me, if we was making Jake Paul money, hey Tim, where you going to Bahamas this week? Yeah, I'm good. I think I'm gonna go on my moped. It goes underwater now. Like, yeah, nah, man.
That's true. You find a way to make time.
We stressed. If we show up outside, hey, get your hands up. White woman says, "Oh my gosh, he looked at me." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
cut that out. But anyway,
it's at all sides. No, it's like it's at all sides. You don't know where it's going to come from these days.
You don't know what's going to come from these days. Man.
But yeah, I beat Rebirth. Obviously, I was texting y'all through the group chat through my trials and tribulations of like, I love this game. I hate this game. Like,
you was on Kanye.
What is
boy.
this? Yeah,
you definitely Kanye. Boy. You definitely Kanye. Man.
So like having finally beat at least the main story, and I know that there's like end game content and so on and so forth. I have some thoughts. I think this is quite easily one of the most satisfying and most frustrating games I have ever played this console cycle. Jory and I were talking about this a little bit earlier when we hopped on at the wrong time, but I was saying like Rebirth, for as good as it is, it's so inconsistent that like at some points I'm like, is this game made by the same people? Like, did somebody else come in like a filler team to like try to pad this out? Because I'm like, this is really bad, and not like bad for the game. I mean, this is really bad. Like this, they're lucky these characters are so interesting because this would
Okay.
have been like a 1 out of 10
Okay.
type
Okay.
of segment.
Wow.
Mm,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. So is it the side quest or is it the main story that does this make you jolt? If it's
It's
because if
most.
it's not the main quest, then I think
Mhm.
you got to give it a pass because
That's a great question. I think it's both. I think it's both. It's you'll have moments, and I'm gonna try to keep it somewhat spoiler free because I know Jory at some point you plan to play through it.
No, I
But it's
definitely
like,
plan to play through it, but I'm
yeah,
yeah, I'm behind.
and you will have. I'm confident you will have a really good time. It's a great game,
Hmm.
but it's just certain things where it's like. I'll give you the perfect example that comes to mind, and it's been all over Reddit. It's been all over Twitter. People keep bringing it up, and I don't think the actual segment of it was that bad. But it's the tonal shift, right? So you have a moment where you're back to Cloud and Tifa's hometown, and that's in the main game, yada yada yada, right? And this is around the time that you end up meeting Vincent for the first time, right? Canonically, even in the original game. Um, and they do a little twist, right, on how you meet Vincent, and it's amazing. It's amazing. You're like, wow, I didn't think this would be what it is, but I love it, right? It's like, wow, this is, man, oh my gosh, this, no more. I'm sorry, I was wrong, right? And not even 2 chapters later, I'm locked in this dungeon as Kate Sith, Aerith, Barrett, and because I'm in this human dungeon, only Kate Sith can escape because he's a cat robot. And the only way to progress through the story to free Aerith and Barrett is to spawn these boxes that I have to time and toss into a reactor for it to unlock the doors. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. 5 different times, I'm tossing boxes as a robotic cat
I'm getting mad.
in the main story.
I'm getting
I'm
mad.
tossing boxes.
I think that's that Japanese campiness that they just incorporate into it because like the Yakuza games,
Mm,
yes, the trailers are very, very serious, but when you really look at the full gameplay, there's some goofy moments, goofy
yeah,
like what are we doing moments, and I feel like that's what that is. Like, yes, it has different stakes, it goes from different levels, but I genuinely feel like that's what it is. It's
and
irritating. It's irritating,
yeah,
yes.
and I would agree with that. I think really the risk though is that you're taking this campiness and this weird out of the Japanese humor, but it has to work, right? Like that's the thing. It's like if it doesn't work, then you start to question it more. Of like, okay, if the aiming on this was thought out, I wouldn't mind tossing boxes, but it's not because why? This wasn't the main focus on this game, right? If I'm playing like what was it? One of the other mini games you had to do was you're playing with Red 13 and you're basically playing soccer with Red 13 for lack of a better term. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not against this idea, but I can't aim at all. I can't aim. I can't position myself. So I'm hitting it with his head, and it's flying to the other side of the screen because this wasn't fleshed out well enough for it to work properly. The mechanics aren't working, so I'm not having fun. It should be fun. It should be funny. Oh, watch Red 13 play soccer, but I can't enjoy this because it doesn't work. I'm in front of
So
the goal, hitting square, and it's bouncing off of the goalpost and headed to the other side of the screen.
let me ask you a question. Is it are most of the mechanics are good as the dance off with in Final
And
Fantasy
remake?
VII remake versus the
No,
Queen? No, they're not better than that. None of
no. But what's
wow.
what's crazy about that is that there's 2 segments in the game that borrow very heavily from that and make it better than the dance off. So there's a segment in the early part of the game where you're leading a parade, and it's like, and that's what I'm saying. Like when the game is hitting, you're just like, this is fantastic. like Cloud's leading his little battalion because you're trying to blend into the crowd so you can infiltrate Shinra, and you're leading, and you get to pick what type of march style you want to do. So it's not like it's hard. You can pick what level of routine you want to do, and you're just pressing the buttons, and it's on live television. You're doing all these spins and gun tricks and all these things, and it's amazing. And there's another part in the game where you're kind of reenacting a play at the Gold Saucer, and Cloud is like the Dragon Quest hero. They have Barrett cosplay as like the Dragon King villain. It's the funniest thing in the world. But the cinematics are Advent Children esque. Like they take this play seriously. Where like you're just like, man, this is, you're button pressing. Yeah, it's quick time events, but you're having a fantastic time. So it's more so that where it's like when it's working, it's done fantastically, and the play is hilarious. So it's like, to your point, Tim, it's like that humor is there, that Japanese quirky humor is there, but the mechanics back it up. Versus, here's this thing that should be fun, but I'm not having a good time because this doesn't work.
And you want to
literally
progress.
not working
Because it doesn't work, you don't progress. And you get penalized for it. Okay, I get you.
Exactly. I'm getting penalized for a mechanic that is not working. I'm trying to throw this dart or shoot this BB gun, and the aiming does not work because you guys did not make this properly.
So this frustrates you on the same level of bad rollback netcode is what you're saying?
Yes. Input delay.
Okay.
That's how bad some of these mini games are. There's input delay on some of these mini games. So
I also feel that's also going to be for future patches, because there have been multiple games that I realized that they throw in these weird mini games, like how you just said, the mechanics are not lining up, and then those are one of the biggest things people voice about. So sometimes those things get addressed through future patches, and then that's part of also the reasons why, like, for me, I wait 2 to 3 months for to buy a big game like that, because I realize, yes, you got to iron those things out, bro. Like, yes, we still love that adrenaline of, oh yeah, buy it the first week, buy it the first day.
Oh yeah, nothing like it.
Nothing
like it.
Let that iron out for a bit, bro, because the moment I see my system freeze up or make some noise I don't like, and I'm just scared. I'm scared. I'm fearful. What did it do? Because, like, yes, bro, like a lot of stuff is being processed at the same time. So yeah, I do feel like that is something that will be ironed out. Because,
that's fair.
Because, like how you said, that's the whole reason, and that's what people got to realize, though. Twitter and all these other spaces, like, they want you to voice these things, to report these things, like, hey, Square Enix, like, try to limit as much characters as possible. What's up with these mini games?
Right. These mechanics literally don't work.
Like, literally,
and they keep calling this filler. Like, why do they keep saying it's filler?
Yeah, keep saying patch this now. That's all you gotta say. Patch this now.
Yeah.
Or even like how we say with other forms of media. Now YouTubers have the biggest voice. There's like, yo, this is me playing,
and it's not working.
And it's not working, bro. You messing up my streams, man. You got to fix this. And that's how they get answered. We also got to, that's the form of customer service, bro. We got to tap into these different avenues.
Yeah.
Or even even what we're doing right here. You're giving an honest review, like, hey, patch this right now.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think that it's something that they can definitely address, but it did take away from the gaming experience for me. Of like, okay, I can see you're wanting to take a break from combat, introduce something new, introduce a new like approach to this game, but it's not working. Like, it's literally not working. And I can't continue the story if I don't beat this. So what do I do now? So that was one of the things that I had an issue with. To your point, Jory, about the filler, at this point in the story, and again, for people who don't know me, like, I'm not a person who goes for, I need a 1-for-1 remake. I'm not one of those people who's like, he didn't say this line of dialogue in this game. What was the point of this? Like, that's not me. I'm okay with fleshing out a story and innovating and giving me something new. The issue that I have is there's a difference between giving me something new, like I said, that Vincent thing that I won't spoil, versus giving me something where I'm like, I can see that you guys were at a creative low here. The perfect example being when you go to the resort. There's a resort called Costa del Sol, right? It's like this vacation getaway. So, long story short, you're supposed to make your way down to the beach, but they have a strict rule where you cannot go onto the beach without getting beachwear. Okay, fair enough, right? I'm like, okay, this shouldn't take long to do whatever little thing to get the beach wear, whatever. Da, da, da. No, come to find out, you got to do 3 or 4 mini games to get the form of currency for that vacation town to get the beach outfit, right? So you do it, you get Cloud's beach outfit, you get Barrett's beach outfit, you go to the beach. Then the camera spins around, goes back to Tifa and Aerith, and now they have to do their own mini games to get their outfits to go on the beach. You see what I'm saying? So what should have been 20, 30 minutes to get what I thought was beachwear for everybody now becomes an hour of me walking through the same town as Tifa and Aerith to get the viral costume for Tifa.
Dragon Ball Z Snake Way. That's what she was going through. Dragon Ball Z Snake Way.
And that's where you get your complaints of filler of like, why do I now have to do the same exact thing to get through the main storyline? This is not, I'm not getting any more character depth, right? There's no like, it's not showing me how Tifa and Aerith grow as friends. None of that. I just have to get outfits for everybody. Otherwise, I can't go on the beach to actually progress the story. And that's what I'm saying. Of like, you'll have moments where it's just like, man, again, the story is like, oh, fantastic. And just like, wait, I have to do what? We're doing what? So that's why, to me, it's like, yes, that runtime sounds crazy until you realize how bloated certain parts of it are. You know what I'm saying? Of like, it's not, I didn't do 95 hours of like peak content. You know, like I maybe did 50 hours of that or 60 hours of that. But there was 30 hours of like, I'm literally graying at the scalp here, trying to figure out how to get past this stupid mechanic to progress the game. Or like I have to now lap the building another way because now the road closed down on half of the party. Now the other half of the party has to get there. That type of thing. So to me, it's like that took away from some of the experience of the game. And I don't want to sound like I'm ragging on it because, again, ultimately, I say all that. And just like I told you on the group chat, it still feels like my game of the year. That's the weird part. It still feels like my game of the year. When it's on point, it's just like, bro, every single action adventure RPG-esque game should aspire for these highs. Not a single boss battle, and there's multiple in that game, felt the same. None. Every single one had a mechanic where I was like, wow, I did not think you could do this with this phase of the boss battle. To your point, Jory, about Barrett's gun arm, there's a part where he runs into, and again, this is an original game, he runs into an old friend of his that he thought died, and they had a similar injury. So they both got replaced with gun arms. And that to me was like, okay, right, it's still in the original game, but they gave his friend's gun arm basically the Akira treatment, where it can morph into a hand that can expand. Like it takes on the property of whatever weapon he wants. And that's when I was like, they got to do better by Barrett because this is ridiculous. Like this man is sitting here doing the whole, again, hands going out, rockets going out. I'm like, and I'm doing, you know, like strafe, roll, like, you know. So there's certain things where it's just like, during that moment, I was like, man, they got to get to having children pretty quickly because he needs that gun arm because this is not working. This is not. I'm struggling right now. So there's certain things where it's just like, again, the expansions on certain ideas are amazing. Like I can't wait until you play it, Jory, so we can really like talk about it in detail. I don't know, Tim, if you watched like through the cutscenes or anything yet for the game. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Not yet.
Okay, all right. So you guys are still like haven't watched anything, so I don't want to like spoil too much. But it's just certain things in the game where I'm just like, this was worth the wait. You know what I'm saying? Like this was worth the wait. The synergy attacks are like well done. The combat never feels old. Sure, it still needs a couple of tweaks here and there. I still don't understand why you can't use your whole party in combat. That didn't quite make sense to me. You can still only use 3 at a time. There's no like triple synergy attacks. So it's like, okay, what was the point of doing this if I'm fighting with Cloud, Barrett, and Tifa, and only Cloud and Tifa can team up at a time? or bury it and see if it can come at a time? Why can't I do a three man, like blitz on a enemy? That to me was like, okay, I'm assuming this will get ironed out in the third game. But as far as making like, you now have a playable roster of 7 characters, and every single one feels unique still. Every single one. No character plays the same. They even made me like Kate Sith, and I hated playing as Kate Sith in the original game. I hated it. And now I'm like, I'm going to put Kate Sith in my party. It's going to be me, Gus Cloud, Yuffie, and probably Kate Sith. Because he's fire. So it's just certain things that like, I would probably give the game ultimately like a 8.5 out of 10. I think like Tim said, once they patch some of those little minor things, it will probably go to a 9 out of 10 for me. But it's just, there's those mini games, there's those filler segments where I was like, you guys did not have to do this. There's some couple things with the open map where, yes, they changed the terrain. Yes, they changed the way you traverse it. But it's the same objectives on every map. It's the same thing. The way you just get there is different. That's it. Whether I'm riding on this chocobo or I'm surfing on the chocobo on the waves, it's still the same thing. Go to this shrine, climb this Ubisoft tower, fight this mutated boss, get the summon, rinse and repeat and repeat. So there's certain things that's like, it was a lot better than 16's open world by far. Side quests better by far. Clearly, Square Enix is starting to figure out how to do an open world game in this modern era. But you can tell it's like there's still work to be done. Basically, there's still like, all right, you gotta fix this. And then of course, y'all know the story where it's like it's multiverse theory. It's mysterious guys in black hooded capes. It's what timeline is this character from? Oh, Zach's alive, but is he? But maybe he is, but is he? And if he makes this decision, is there a new world being made? And it's like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, I heard the last act was a Gin Infinite Sekuyomi kid.
A fever dream, bro. A fever dream.
I was like, yo, I'm hearing people like, yo, you saw that Infinite Sekuyomi in Final Fantasy? I said, they got one? I'm like, oh man.
That's fever dream. Fan fiction to the if I'll put it like this, if your favorite character is Zach, you will be doing backflips when you're holding the controller. If not, like me, you'll be okay. He's helping Cloud through a different reality. You know what? Let me just go ahead and cast a spell and get this over with. Because
sounds like a Miyazaki plot, dog. I don't be knowing what's going on in this film, dog. Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke. I don't be knowing what's happening.
Goodness, bro. It's just.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, okay, what's the plot? Man,
it's a 6-phase boss fight, and the entire time I'm like, I have absolutely no idea what's happening.
My name is Panyo. what is? Yeah,
right, I have absolute. Like, as soon as you beat Genova, I'm like, I have no idea what is going on. So, that's gonna play a part as well. I think in the reception of like, how's the ending? Well. Empire Strikes Back. This is not. It's just,
wow. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So what are your guys' questions or thoughts that you've seen from the internet in regards to the game?
Was the ending as fearful as it made you, as you thought you would be?
Yes. So remember I was telling you guys, you're like, how do you think of it so far? And I was like, I want to finish the game, so hopefully the blanks that are there get filled in. Mm-hmm. They did not get filled in. They did not. I think without spoiling too much, I think if they had taken their multiple worlds concept that they established and made it like a form of like live stream purgatory, where like the people who are dead or dying kind of go to like this in between realms that's made of like fragments of their consciousness, then everything that happens in that part makes perfect sense. But they don't. They double down of like, no, this is a different reality, and this person is alive. And you're just like, but how can that be? How can this person still be
So
alive?
you initially wanted it to be the Terminator.
Yes.
Okay.
I think
Sephiroth goes back in time.
yes.
Okay.
It's because it's the only way that makes sense. The only, to me, the way they flesh out the story is like the only way this makes sense is if Advent Children Sephiroth, once Cloud hits him with the Omni Slash version 5 and he collapses back into pieces, goes back through the live stream, goes back in time and tries to recorrect the things he was doing wrong. Aerith picks up on it, and now they're playing chess with the characters. Still not my favorite type of story, but makes more sense of what's happening.
More
As
acceptable.
opposed to, yeah, I can make peace with that versus no. Yes, this is Advent Children Sephiroth, but that's actually Sephiroth, and that's actually out of reality Sephiroth. Oh, that's Omni Aerith over there. Oh, that white material you needed? Yeah, Cloud's gonna get that from a different dimension. Don't worry. But I am worried. I don't understand why he would. Why would he get it from a different dimension? Because there's multiple worlds.
It's the same thing that happened with Mortal Kombat 1, bro. It's just they're using this multiverse stuff as a cop out from completing making a concrete story.
Yes.
And what they don't realize is it causes so much discrepancies, I would say, long term. Because now, for the next part,
right
now you got to remember what you just did. You gotta remember every last it's like when a person lies, like you gotta remember every last single lie that you told now.
Okay, so y'all boys, Genesis coming back and Angio.
Probably
it's the reunion.
Why not? At this rate, why not?
And for me, here's how I thought it was gonna go. Right, here's what I was anticipating was gonna go. I thought it was gonna be the Terminator storyline. Sephiroth goes back in time, Advent Children. He said, "Yo, I ain't dying again." You feel me? So now his plans don't go. His plans don't go according to plan. Now, because of that, we wind up in Advent Children Plus because it can't just end at Advent Children. That's gonna be an amazing cliffhanger. Yo, this is making it past the part of Advent Children. Nobody now knows what's gonna go on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you introduce whatever storyline, but it goes back to formula. Sephiroth dies at the end, and everybody else still dies because the theme of Final Fantasy VII is loss, right? And how to deal with it. Okay,
it's coming to terms with the fact that loss is loss, and there is no.
I think Aerith dies in a completely different way, where it could rival the Down A, the descending Sephiroth from the chandelier. You find a way to rival that death scene, then you go on from there. I think here's what I fear is going to happen. Even though I haven't played the game, I wanted Sephiroth to die at a point at the Advent Children part, but then he gets resurrected. Those guys come in later.
Okay,
they come in
brothers
later.
Or
his brothers,
fragments of his consciousness,
fragments, right? And so it's not 3, it's 4, and the fourth one finally achieves the transformation Pokemon style with Sephiroth, and he's even more angrier because he failed yet again. You know what I'm saying? That's just me going hypothetically. Then, and then you wrap it up, and it ends. Now you get to spend time with the Advent Children crew. That'll kind of be it'll be introduced into the third act, and then you go on from there. The family's back together again, and then you finally end Sephiroth, right? For good now. Here's what I think is going to happen. From the way it's looking, I think Angel gonna come back. I think Genesis is gonna come back. Then it's gonna be Genesis and Sephiroth working together. Then Genesis and Sephiroth gonna fuse, and they're gonna turn to Epic Roth. You feel me? And then dog, we gonna be like, yo, this.
How did we get here?
It's gonna end good though. It's gonna end good though. It's just gonna that Angel gonna make your heart. Wait, Angel still alive?
And and think about this is also while they're hinting at Dirge of Cerberus. because it's not one of those things where it's like, you know, they hinted it at Yuffie's DLC and never addressed it again.
Spinoffs.
These things are still going. These things are still happening.
So you think we're gonna get a Dirge of Cerberus plus Final Fantasy team with them? That'll work.
You're right.
That wouldn't be bad.
If they're smart, if they're thinking with their heads and not their wallet, they would find a way to tie Dirge either as DLC for part 3 or tie it into the game. It being a spin-off game again is not going to work.
You tie it off because I'm not playing Devil May Cry. I'm not playing Devil May Cry, even though it might work, but I'm not playing Devil May Cry Dirge of Cerberus. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it. Even though it might work, I think people will still buy it. But, the Devil May Cry teams do? Because they said this is the last Final Fantasy 16 DLC, quote unquote. That's what they said. It's being well received now. So, y'all boys, we about to get that expansion because once I heard homie said, well, you know, Final Fantasy 16 didn't leave the taste in the mouth that I wanted to leave the taste in the mouth of the people. Oh, yeah. I told y'all, it's going to be 15 all over. We're going to get the Royal Edition. We're going to get the Royal because them boys, this is Final Fantasy 16. Darn it. Vince McMahon voice, man. you know what I'm saying? They gonna do it, man.
We took the Game of Thrones storyline with Naruto. How can this fail?
well, we should have never allocated money to Forspoken. You're fired. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the out the window meme. the pause to look at each other and the little intern gets kicked out the window.
The intern gets kicked out the window. But I think that's what's gonna happen. That ending. Here's what I think is gonna happen. That ending, Angel gonna come back alive and be like, "Yo, Zach, I only saved you so I can make sure you die in this timeline." You know, and then all over again. You feel me? And then I think that's what's going. It's gonna get crazy. It has to.
Yeah.
Why do I stop here? Genesis is back. Angeal's back. Now you bring Crisis Core universe into this one. And then you do a side story with Sephiroth. Now Sephiroth has to deal with Genesis, who's kind of muddling his plans that could possibly pose a threat to him.
Right. Who is now, with his wing, has started to rival him in
with
power.
With his wing and rival in power. And now Sephiroth is only busy because of Genesis. He's losing. Sephiroth, I think, should start to slowly lose his composure the longer the game goes on, because now he's getting the Sephiroth we fight at the end. Yo, I'm really gonna kill y'all boys. That would make the icing on the cake, because Aerith gotta die. Aerith's gotta die even worse than how she did in this one, because that wasn't satisfying. I saw the cutscene for that. I said, "Yo, I'd be mad. I'd be mad too." Genjutsu, because I don't know what I said. Yo, she dead? She not? At least kill her and then to say she's alive. You feel me? Give the people the cutscene.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
Tim, I don't know if you want me to go any further, but
Tim's cool with spoilers.
Okay.
Cool with spoilers. I'm just looking at the time because you remember.
Oh yeah.
Because
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Is there any last questions about Rebirth? We can
wrap
move
up.
on.
We're gonna have a part 2 about this, guys.
Okay.
Dedicated.
Yeah, we definitely we'll have a part 2. I think
Dragon Ball Z DLC.
I think in regards to 7 Rebirth,
that Hunter game.
We'll say that for our next topic too, because I got some thoughts. I definitely got some thoughts on that one. I think my closing thoughts on
they selling that to us, y'all boys. They selling that to us.
Whew, the roughest of rough footage. We'll pause that topic for next week. Oh my goodness, I couldn't believe what I was looking at. My closing thoughts on Rebirth, though, is that I think Final Fantasy 7 as a whole is starting to get dangerously close to too much lore being a bad thing. I think we're getting there. We're getting there of like, I appreciate some clarification, right, on certain things in the story, certain things that were kind of like not given the depth that it needed. But there's other things where I was just like, everything you just said, Jory, about Angel and Genesis, I'm like, yeah, that would, given what's happening in this game, would not. I could not put it past them, and that's my problem. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the issue I'm having. Like this is a very plausible theory at this point with everything
Oh
that's
my
happened in this game. I'm
gosh,
like,
dude.
it's just not off the table. And now I'm like, this is did I? It's
Yeah,
kind of like when
boys.
Dragon Ball Super came back. We're like, did we really want more Dragon Ball? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I don't know.
That Frieza arc was not
Yeah,
helping. Them animators was not
I don't
helping.
know.
By episode 3, I said, "Yo, y'all boys canceled it, Netflix
Yeah, I
style.
don't know. I don't know if I.
Just dead
I
it."
think I think Super Saiyan 3 being it was. I think I can make peace with that. It's fine. Like we don't have to go where we're going with this. So that's kind of where I'm at with Rebirth. 16 we can kind of address another time, seeing how it's probably not going to be the end of the DLC. I just think it's interesting how it's been generally received, and I don't see how 16 redeems itself with what I saw. That's all I'll say about that. I don't see. Maybe I'm missing something when people were like, "This game is back." It's like I don't see it.
So I'm not the only one who noticed it.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah,
The campaign.
the
I'm
revisionist
like,
history. I'm like, I'm not seeing what y'all are seeing. He's still using the same 4-hit combo. Still,
combo, nasty, bro.
nothing about the combat has changed. He just has a new icon. That's it. Old Leviathan is this 80-year-old baby who's been trapped in a time prison. Wow. You fight Leviathan on like a Bayonetta stage.
And then
Wow.
and then Leviathan look like Seedramon. I say, yo, y'all boys, get this out of here, man. This supposed to be the king. This don't even look better than the. Oh man, yeah, be fighting Metal Seedramon though. I'm like, yo, y'all boys, man, come on, dog.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on to our last topic of the night. Tim brought up a really good perspective in the group chat about animation and how animation has passed on from generation to generation. He brought up the most recent Transformers trailer that's going to finally be completely computer generated. No humans, no human interaction, no human based plot in which the Transformers are guest characters. They are the main characters in this. And Tim, give us your thoughts about how you felt about the trailer and what kind of inspired you for the topic that we're having.
Well, first off, I'll go back to the announcement of Brian Tyree Henry as Megatron. He's one of my favorite, young black actors as of now. And I was looking forward to it. So when I saw the trailer, and the first couple of seconds, I was like, yeah, this is definitely a very campy adventure route. Yeah, because like especially when you really know, because especially they're touching base on their origin stories up when Optimus Prime went by his original name, Orion Pax, and it's just the flow of it is just like, yeah, this is very different, and I could see the creative differences. But then I have come to realize, but then especially after our recent conversations, like yes, I wouldn't say we're being fizzled out, but I'm just saying, like, it's time to pass the baton, I would say. Let a next generation enjoy something that we've experienced similar, but from a different way. Because, that could be the same way how, like, there's different iterations of comics. In this world, this person is this character, this person is this person is that. And to be honest, it's a new continuity. So just let it be. And sometimes that's exactly what you just have to do. So like, I mean, I watched the trailer fully. I like it. It's definitely something I would like to take like my younger nephew to see. And then, to be honest, and I can just enjoy it for what it is. I have come to realize that, we can't, and this is from my personal take, we can't hold these properties hostage for the rest of our lives since it was a pinnacle part of our childhood. We can't hold it hostage. I even thought about, I remember a complaint that I made about, Pokemon. Pokemon has become so easy. But then I just realized, like, yeah, bro, they're marketing to different kids now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just.
For Pokemon, a child is born every day.
Yeah, a child is born every day. And that's part of the reasons why, especially I would see some of the recent games, they really don't have, like, continuity anymore. Like I remember, like the biggest thing about Pokemon Gold, Silver, And Crystal was the return to Kanto, and you fought Red. He was the big boss. But then I realized, like, yeah, the last game that really had that type of continuity was Black and White. And after that, they've just been doing whatever that they want.
I mean, Sun and Moon, technically.
Sun and Moon had, yeah, it was. I felt Sun and Moon was like a love letter to like classic stuff. But then, like I said, after that, it's a new story, new gimmick, and that's it. And to be honest, like yes, I see the area of disdain where I feel like, oh yeah, these gimmicks are just not what it is, and I don't like that. But then I have come to realize, bro, there's a whole generation, but this is the coolest thing ever. And I feel like it's understanding that duality that gives me peace about it. Like, okay, you know what? Moving forward, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do.
Well, I guess my question would be, and I was thinking about this while we were having the initial conversation in the group chat. Do you feel like, I don't know if it's necessarily for Jory, but I feel like there is some of that there. But I know it's there for me of like, and I think Tim, you've been the more accepting out of the three of us when it comes to this. I feel like there is something to be said about certain eras having the thing that's theirs, right? Like I think about our parents, right? You guys think about, I don't know if you ever heard of the show MASH, right? But apparently that was a show that was extremely popular back in our parents' day. Same thing with like the A-Team or like all these 70s and 80s show. Good Times was, something that my parents grew up on. And yes, there's an appreciation that I had for when I watched the reruns, but it also kind of reflected of like the drama and intricacies of things that were happening there is just not going to sit with me as it would for somebody who was watching it week by week at that time, right? With these shows and with these things. And do you feel like as a millennial, one of the things that even though I am a little more accepting as I get older, it's like, but why is it that all of the things that I cherished have to be transferred over to this next generation? Why can't they get their own things?
I feel like that's also due to the laziness of the current industries as of now. Everybody's trying to, especially in this more lucrative future, everybody's just trying to milk everything. Like, I said it, a couple of podcasts back. I feel like it's time for Star Wars to end. But no, Star Wars just got bought by Disney. So that means they have to max out, to Jory's point.
They need that return.
They're gonna max out everything Luke Skywalker, lightsaber battle, good versus evil, down to the ground. Even Marvel. Oh, Marvel has been purchased by Disney now, so now we need 10 shows. 10 shows that's gonna connect to this new saga, and we have to make it all make sense. It's become, like I said, it's become so overly stretched. It's like when you get that tube soap where you keep just squirting it out, and then but then you don't want to go just buy a new one. You just want to put water.
You roll the tube up.
Yeah.
Or you put a little water in there, like soapy water, so it gets the job done.
But then, it gets the job done for the first time, but then afterwards, everything just gets watered down, and that's just the current climate that we're in. I do feel like, certain things have transferred over in a good, well way. And then just certain things that, bro, it's time for y'all to just innovate. But then, the current future of things, with AI and intellectual property, that's a very huge concern. Like, it kind of feels like everybody's just repeating the same formula. Like, even like this Zendaya movie that's coming out, I heard that's a remake. The one with the tennis one, I believe. I think that's a remake. I'll look back up just for,
right, for common sake.
Actually, like for example, like even the latest Dune, like Dune was my godfather's favorite show. He said this is sci-fi, but then I asked him what's his opinion of the new one. He said it's good, but. And it was interesting to hear his comparisons back and forth. Like he was able to enjoy it, but there's still a connection to what he has. And I feel like that's the duality, that I like to look at things. Yeah, there's certain reboots or these things that's like, okay, this is cool ish. Like for example, I hated the Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles. I hated them. I hated them. I hated them. But I could see why this is enjoyable to somebody because yes, the turtles to them are cool looking. It's an action graded movie, but to me that story was trash.
Yeah, they, they did certain things well. They did certain things well.
Yeah, they did.
They
But
did. Like,
part two did not save it.
yeah. Well, no, but and that's the thing. Even with part two, I was like, man, I got Bebop and Rocksteady and Krang. Something that
Yeah,
people would normally like shy away from, like giant alien brain from space. Not in my Ninja Turtles, you know. And it's like, no, in my Ninja Turtles, yes, and the giant rhinoceros and warthog, yes. Now,
Squandered.
granted, where there's, yes. Now,
Squandered.
the execution of these things is an entirely different story.
Squandered.
But I was like, wow, there goes Krang on my big screen. Oh, okay.
yeah,
Space alien brain. Okay.
yeah. So like I said, bro, like even for example, another example of something that is like overly done was the Transformers movies. Like, bro, after a certain period, I was like, bro, why is Optimus still fighting for these humans? Like, and also, what is the time grade? Oh, this is a new continuity. Oh, there's a GI Joe crossover. I was like, hold on, where are we going?
Right.
Now we're
Oh,
in
he fought with the dinosaurs. Just kidding. Now it's in Beast Wars. Just
And
kidding.
then
Now it's.
and y'all just gave me Snake Eyes, right? So Snake Eyes is fighting on the level of John Wick. I don't want to see John Wick fight Optimus Prime and Megatron, kid.
so
I don't
like
want to see a fight at the Smithsonian, kid, and Bonatron. I was here since the time began. Yeah, like
Right. And there goes Snake Eyes cutting through a wall sized bullet. Just
oh, dog, at the speed, at light speed, kid, like because of the Arukushinki clan's entry
right.
technique.
They've
yeah,
been
and you
planning for the
know
Transformers for decades.
now in terms of the topic that Jory brought up in terms of quality, I understood where he was coming from because it connects to what your point was and about it's the connection that we have to it. And that's a very interesting tether. It's a very intimate tether because this is our childhood. This is what molded a lot of our mindsets about entertainment and even where we are now in terms of careers that we would like for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it does play it's a very intricate thread. So I understand that term of quality, I would say, but also, quality, it can mirror. It can mirror certain things. Like this could be the quality for them that inspires their future. So it's kind of like you gotta allow it. That's for me. Give it that space for freedom. I would say,
Mm.
give it the space. Give it the space. And then like I said, bro, like whatever you're able to enjoy. If you have your opinions about it, you have your opinions about it. You know, like for example, I'm loving the feeling of course of X-Men '97. I'm loving it.
Mm.
To be honest, I'm not really looking forward to Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm not really looking forward to it.
What? Bro, I can't
Yeah,
wait.
yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it. But that's just me. That's
Mm.
just me. I kind of because well, first of all, I have
Yeah,
also
I don't care about it either, dog. Like, you feel me? You're
it's
not gonna
just
tell a better story than Old Man Logan in the comic book.
like to be honest, bro. It's just I've also reached a pinnacle point when Marvel is like, okay, bro, so your universe kind of fell apart due to the legal situation of your main villain. So it's kind of like, so where do you stand?
That's not what made it fall apart, but okay.
But you know what I
That's
mean.
not. That's
No,
not. But
Mm-hmm.
but you know what I mean. It's just there's
Mm-hmm.
just so many factors that the Marvel state is kind of like in a real interesting
Black
limbo.
Panther 2, Miss
It's in
Marvel,
it.
Wow, if we had a
Marvels.
superhero cast, my goodness.
Oh
My
boy,
goodness.
Yeah, it's
But
in
I get what
the
you're trying to
Black
say, Tim.
Black Widow.
yeah, it's in a yeah. Oh, that was just that movie could have been lost to COVID to me.
Yeah. It was lost to COVID. It was, in my opinion, it was lost to COVID.
The Hawkeye on Christmas special, get rid of it.
And I ain't like Guardians of the Galaxy 3, man.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm Cameron when he's saying I got fur coats, batter boots, hand grenade goggles, and a parachute.
The villain's demeanor I liked. I did feel like certain story elements it was a bit wonky. It was a bit wonky. I did feel like they wasted Adam. I did.
They did.
I feel like that they did waste Adam. But to get back on the point, man, it's just certain things. Yeah, you just got to take it as you go. And we have to also realize, we're growing older, where a lot of our attention spans are being taken up by other things. So, like, yes, this new generation, like, yes, especially when we become fathers or guardians to other children, it's just like, yeah, we gotta allow them to have certain things. And, we also have to have space for them to get to know what their likes are. Mm-hmm. Because, for example, and I'll give an example, the dating world, bro. Some of our parents can never tell us what to do when a person doesn't text us back. But we're able to tell a next generation, but then they're going to hit us with stuff that we don't even know about. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, what is this? We're going to feel like outdated by certain things. And it's because it's the product of their time. So yes, I get it. It's a very interesting duality, because to be honest, like one of the biggest heartbreaks for me was when Cartoon Network did not want to finish the new Thundercats reboot. I was like, bro, this is a reboot that makes sense. Like I love the original, but the story elements of this new, I was like, bro, this makes sense. Lionel and Tiger are stepbrothers. The Netflix. Lion and the tiger are the biggest rivals in the animal kingdom.
Netflix will take it.
Hopefully. Hopefully they will.
Panthro, Panthro, the cybernetic genius, has cyborg arms. Jax. He's basically Jax. Mm. Like, okay. Snarf is not annoying.
Improvement already.
Improvement. And even the mutants and the other animals in the kingdom, even how they redid Mumbra. I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense.
If you do He-Man, you have to do Thundercats.
But I guess I think
we're not gonna talk about He-Man, but
right.
But hey, listen. I'm just saying.
But I definitely get your point. Is like how, first of all, you did Voltron, you did He-Man, and it's like.
No, He-Man on Cartoon Network, that's a different story. That was, but you're done tomorrow. The thing is, with our parents, the reason why I have such a disdain for it is because our parents in the '60s Spider-Man, they could go into the '90s Spider-Man and say, "No, this is better," without a shadow of a doubt. Compared to you know what I'm saying? There's an obvious progression of storytelling and whatever effects. There's an honest progression of the story, the presentation, the stakes. It's like almost peak. It's peak, and you want to see the same thing passed on. So it's not even my problem's not even introducing new elements. It's like they're just not good. And the kids, they're literally not giving you the foundations of being able to sustain that, right? We wanted to give you what we were getting. We were getting our parents' efforts into making the best cartoons. Like, somebody had to think in a room, like, no, I want to do Voltron. Somebody had to be around creative people to say, I want to do Thundercats. Let's do humanoid Thundercats. Listen, nobody was drawing those type of things. No, we're gonna have a sword that when it looks at, he says thunder. You know what I'm saying? It's an obvious expression of what they cherish and they love. Dune, your uncle Dune was the pinnacle of CGI. Nobody was doing what they were doing. I can't go back in time and crap on Dune because I'm watching old Dune and I'm like, man, this movie's actually fire for what time it came out in. The concept, the voice, the blue eyes, just seeing what the story, just seeing what your parents were, just seeing that generation. Yo, my generation of people were thinking people. Star Trek, the '60s version, well written. I can't crap on it. I have to go back to them to see, hey, yo, how do they deal with this issue and the solution and the answer they gave? Even though the cadence of their voice is different, the issues are still the same and the solution was presented to us. I can't say that if I go back and watch a Malcolm X video that I'm like, yo, Malcolm X is dealing with this question that Candace Owens presented today. I'm thinking it's the newest question, and he answered that back in his time. You know what I'm saying? There's no progression. There's no leap. There's no look at like just like music. Music now the kids use less verbiage. That's not good. You are a more efficient human being the more words you have. It's like thinking. A kid goes from babbling to constructing sentences. You know what I'm saying? It's an evolution.
I also do feel like that's also very political as well. There, as adults, we have seen, there are things that governmental entities are doing to the minds of people. And remember, Hollywood is one of the biggest avenues because, a friend told me this a while back that entertainment is containment. You're containing their minds, and you're also molding their minds as well. So that's why, to your point, Jory, in terms of quality, that's why I did agree. But then I also see that quality looks different from one person to the next. But then, like I said, it's an interesting duality. It could go back and forth.
Right, because I think.
But that's why I made the point with Star Trek. Like,
yeah, that was a
you know what I'm
very
saying.
valid
But
point.
you really can't argue with that though. You know what I'm saying? Because the foundations are too strong to just say it punches because the foundations that they present to us are foundations that will stand the test of time. That's why when you meet these generations, like why did the family stay rich for decades?
Okay.
Why did the family stay rich for millennia and they transitioned? How did they do that? This guy and then their grandfather is still alive and kicking and adapting to these new tech. You know what I'm saying? He presented a strong foundation.
Okay.
As an artist, as a videographer.
So let's connect back to the original topic. So how did you feel about the Transformers trailer?
I didn't hate it. I just would have did certain things differently.
Like
but
what?
I understand
Go
they
into
haven't.
detail.
I understand that this is Optimus Prime as Orion, right? He's not Optimus Prime. Megatron is not Megatron.
So you think it's room for them to be childlike?
To be, yeah. Yeah, it's room for that to be campy. Because I didn't understand, like, why is Megatron with Optimus Prime? But his name is B21, right? So he's not Megatron.
Yeah.
Optimus Prime is not Optimus. I thought the whole getting powers thing was a little. I think it's gonna hurt it in the end. Because you guys are autonomous beings. You know what I'm saying? I think it was gonna hurt it. I think it was gonna hurt. It's definitely gonna hurt it because robots getting powers.
Yeah, that part I was like,
I didn't hate it. I felt the what hurt me, what got me angry a little bit was the art style wasn't unique enough. It could kind of get lost within
it looked like a Nickelodeon budget to me.
Yeah, it just didn't. I've seen, like, to be honest with you, what's the 3D version of Optimus? What's the 3D version of the Transformers that was on like Nickelodeon? Or
Transformers Prime, I believe.
Prime, right? Even that had more of a distinct style and uniqueness, even though it probably wasn't my favorite. But I appreciate how I know what world that is. You get what I'm saying? Oh, that's the Prime world. I like Teen Titans versus Young Justice. I know this is Teen Titans.
Oh, I thought you was about to say Teen Titans Go. I was
No, no,
about to
no, no, no,
cringe.
no, no. No. That I can't. I just can't. I will never do that. I'm not a fan of nonsensical humor. You know, just for the sake of just doing stupidity. That's why I couldn't watch SpongeBob all the time. I just couldn't do it. I appreciated Angry Beavers because there was actually a genius plot behind and certain reactions made sense. It was just extreme, you know. If you follow Tom and Jerry makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
The delivery is just wacky.
Yeah.
Bugs Bunny, the Looney Tunes, the plots made sense. You know, even Ed and Eddie, they were, hey, we trying to scam you out of some candy.
Always a scheme.
It's always a scheme. Left. You feel me? It goes left. So these
makes sense.
Powerpuff Girls, them episodes was, man. My favorite episode of Powerpuff Girls is the Boogeyman. I could not believe these Canadians did the black culture the way they did. That thing was I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
you feel me? The way he slides, and I'm like, yo, this is Soul Train, man. But they mimic that. You get what I'm saying? That's an appreciation for art. I could not, and that's why, you know, to a degree, I can see Ono's appreciation. Oda's appreciation for American cartooning, because there was really nothing like it at that time. You know, Popeye the Sailor Man. I love that. I still like that thing, even though some of the episodes was wild. You know what I'm saying? If we look like us, product of his time. But there's no progression. So back to the Transformers thing, I think it could be a great movie. I'm just not gonna like this installment, perhaps. You know, I'll watch when they become, because the transitions, I felt the intensity when Megatron became Megatron. I said, oh,
when they showed the Decepticons.
Yeah, I said, oh, okay, this is definitely gonna change in tone. And if it does that, then I'll be fine. You know, but I just felt like I think the voice acting was great. I was a little bit worried about Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime. I'm like, don't give us Thor, bro, please. And I don't think he's gonna do that to us. But yeah, it's just this one's cool.
I also feel like he's in a different mind state, because he did realize that Love and Thunder was not it, and he still holds that chip on his shoulder. Like, nah, like you
this
could
is
tell,
not the
like,
actor I want to be remembered as. Yeah.
So I feel like moving forward, whatever he puts himself into, like
Extraction 9 with Sylvester Stallone.
Man, was the bulletproof American in that movie.
Now, see, that's propaganda.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how I feel about the Transformers. I don't hate it. I think it's it did enough for me to be like, you know, I'll take my kid to see this.
Mm-hmm.
I won't. I love the new I really love the new Ninja Turtles movie. There was things I would have expounded upon, but they felt like actual kids of our time. You know what I'm saying? That's why I like Kid Trunks. That's why I like Ben 10. You know what I'm saying? I feel like those are they're actually kids at heart. Look at the way they navigate the world. Those are well written children. That's a progression. That's something I could give my child a case study on.
Even the actors they chose.
You feel me? I'm like, that's Sonic. To a degree, I could give Sonic a good case study. Hey, son, this is light. You know, it's a good start off onto how to construct a story. You know what I'm saying? Give them the rest of those shows. They don't give me that. They don't give me that. Legend of Korra, I could say the animation's fire, but story structure, no. Even though they do it.
Moments.
It has its moments, but I would have to give him an episode, not the episodes.
They actually had great villains. When you really look at
they had amazing villains.
But that's the problem is what happens when the villains are more interested in the main character. Yeah, every time with the exception of season 2, all of her villains I enjoyed more than Korra in that season. Every single time. Zahir was the peak, but I'm like, Amon, fire. Kavira, fire. I'm like, bro, just
No,
I was like,
Amon.
nah, pack
No,
Korra
no.
up. Pack Korra up. I don't care
Amon.
about her no more.
Amon made me be like, yo, this is the end of Avatar. He could take your
Yeah.
bending away. And then you bring up Zahir. I'm sitting evil airbender. Whatever I get. No. 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 He reads books too? Nah, kid. He reads books on ancient airbenders? Oh, man. That was the best introduction for a villain to me on a kid.
Yeah.
One of the best introductions. I
Even
watch
even
it and
his
I study
squad,
it.
even his squad, as like you have a lava bending, brother in arms.
Mm-hmm.
You have a
An
armless
armless waterbender.
and of course the love of your life, a combustion bender.
Mm-hmm.
She think about fire.
And
That means she burned with passion. And the thing is, what was so poetic about that, fire and air need each other.
mm-hmm. Yeah. But
You're,
like you said, Jory, to your point
but
earlier, the
yeah,
foundation was there.
the foundation.
The
Okay, so now
execution might have missed the mark a couple times, but
With X Men 90. Oh, I'm sorry, man.
no, I was
But
just
with
saying, like,
X Men
I
90,
think. Go
yeah.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was like, I think that's the thing that we keep coming back to is just like I think you start to see where it's like where are some parts in this story that makes sense to evolve it further
Okay.
versus here's a popular IP and we want to make more money.
Can I
Like,
share something that I had? Can I share a moment that I had with you with my students? I showed them. I asked them. We were having a free draw, and they asked me, "What's my favorite? Who's my favorite villain in Transformers?" I said, "Beast Wars Megatron." They said, "Oh, okay, show us." I showed them it. They were cracking up. They said, "Oh, yeah, what is this?" I knew they would say that. I said, "Guys, you don't understand. I want to teach you something that's going to pass on." And I showed them more clips of this Megatron. They said, "Man, his personality is different." I showed them Optimus Prime. I said, what do you got? I let them watch it before they got all their laughter out there. They said, man, this is from the Stone Age, man. I like, yeah. You feel me? That was going in. But there was something super unique about it that they were like, man, this world is interesting. Even though the graphics was trash or horrible. I said, guys, this Megatron works because of A, B, and C. Within the first 2 minutes of every episode that I showed them, without context, they got a feel for the character. They understood what it takes to make a good character. Because there's a mannerism that the character has to say. There's a posture that the character has to. The posture within the writing will be he speaks Old English. High pitched voice, low pitched voice, deep voice. These things illustrate a feel for the person once that person speaks. You know what I'm saying? Like we know Lil Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Within the first, we already get a feel. We already know when it's Jay-Z. I had to come out here with the rap Kanye. You know what I'm saying? Without them being present, we get the feel, and so that's why I was trying to illustrate to them, And then not only that, what expounds on these characters are the situations that they're being placed in. How does Megatron deal with being captured? What does he say? Does he start talking? Does he go silent? Does he says, "I'll get revenge"? You know what I'm saying? And they
You
grew
showed
and
them the
appreciate.
Ravage. You showed them the Ravage
Yeah, yeah. And then they were like, "Whoa, man, this Panther guy, who is this guy? He's cool." Maximus. And it's just these things you can teach the kid. If I show them Justice League, they're not gonna watch Young Justice. Do you know the actors that were acting? We had it good, y'all boys. We had Oscar nominated people. I'm like, yo, why is this show so raw? You know what I'm saying? And if I show them classic Batman or Batman Beyond, the parts that we laughed at, they laughed at too. That black dude. And then they had an argument. No, he's not black. He's not black. He can't be black. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, nah. I said it's not true. It's the foundation that you have to give them. That's what breaks my heart about today's media. They can't learn. They don't have anything to build the extra ladder. versus what we had. You know what I'm saying? That's where I was so passionate about. That's what I was really stressing. Maybe it didn't come up clear because I was driving, but that's really like for me, Popeye. You can find very strong Looney Tunes, strong foundations. If I wanted to do a cartoon to where it's still mature but kids can enjoy it, you have to take a chapter out of that book right there. Acme is a real firearms company. Right. I'm thinking it's just it's real.
But you're right.
Acme is real. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a good point because it brings up. I mean, obviously there's that whole controversy with the Shell movie, but it's like you're right. The foundation allows for a movie of a Wile E. Coyote suing Acme to be a movie synopsis. So, like you said, it's not just this make believe thing that he pulls out of his butt to chase Roadrunner. Like he keeps ordering these faulty weapons from this company, and he's had enough. Because again, like the consistency in the world building, whether we're aware of it or not, is just already established. I think to kind of wrap it up and kind of get our closing thoughts, I think to your point, Jory, I think one of the things that I kind of go back and forth on in terms of passing on these cherished memories to the next generation is you come across these characters that are established one definitive way, right? So a perfect example is how do we approach an animated Batman when he's not played by Kevin Conroy? It's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard.
It's almost impossible. It's dead in water.
Yeah, because the entire revelation of that character, the full emergence of the whole Adam West Scooby-Doo Adventures Batman being gone and giving birth to what would lead to Christian Bale is off the back of Kevin Conroy playing Batman during the 90s. You can't you can't escape it. So
Arkham Asylum,
right? So there's certain things where it's just yes, I'm okay to Tim's point, the duality of things and allowing the younger kids to have their own interpretation of these cherished memories, right? We can't hold on to them forever. We're adults. There's also that aspect of is there a version of, well, this just isn't my Megatron, or is it this just isn't Megatron? You know what I'm saying? This is more so than my nostalgia talking. This is not this character anymore. This is not this character. I don't know. He's character in name alone. I don't know who this is. Do you guys feel like there's space for that? And how do we approach that without sounding like cranky old men yelling from our porch of
No, but we give our explanation. We give our explanations. You know what I'm saying? It's not. We're not giving our parents responses because I said so. You know what I'm saying? I said, listen, kid, it's not good because A, B, and C. And then because I'm saying, A, B, and C is how you do math. You can do math, and you can do math however you like. If you want to get to Hollywood, there's different roads. But I'm telling you, 95 would probably be your best option. If this isn't you know what I'm saying, there's multiple ways to get to the point, but they're all constructed well.
I also feel like tone plays a role in it too.
Okay.
One thing for us, especially from our core experiences, we always felt that very dismissive, authoritarian, alpha, omega type of tone. Mm-hmm. And I feel that is something that, especially as men, that's something we have to really be cautious of. Be cautious of when we enter that field of life. Because like you said, Jory, you are right. There's ways to get there. For example, yes, outside of Batman, it's very hard to imagine anybody outside of Kevin Conroy. I said the same thing about Mark Hamill's Joker until I came across John DiMaggio from Under the Red Hood. I was just like, oh, there is potential here.
You're right, but that's Heath. That's all Heath.
But that's fine, right?
That's fine.
Again, there's when it's progression, right? There's nothing wrong with progression. I think I just think there's a fine line of for example, even though yes, we have our English version of him, imagine what Japan's going to go through when the voice actor of Goku passes away. It's going to be they won't be able to connect the dots to that character in that way. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter if they catch the spirit of Goku. It doesn't matter if Toritaro channels Toriyama's mind to create the greatest character arc of Goku we've ever seen. It's just something about that whole lady scream for the Japanese, right? It'd be like if Sean Chemo passes away as our Goku. He's been Goku literally our entire lives. It's just certain things where it's like, is there a way for that to progress where it's like, okay, y'all can have this now?
I think for Japan that's going to be like nearly impossible because they won't even. The Heihachi voice actor died. They're not even talking. Heihachi's never coming back now.
Yeah, they haven't done anything with
as DLC.
Yeah, they haven't even done anything with even to that same point with Naruto when the Japanese actor for Kasame died. They just kind of wrote any type of Kasame flashback out. Like, no, we're not. We are not doing this with this character. So it's just like, I guess in closing, it's like I'm interested to see, since our childhood's going to be milked probably to the day that we die, it seems like.
And they do that for a reason.
Yeah, of course. But it's like, at what point can I be like, okay, they can have that now? Yeah, it's not for me anymore.
Oh, well, I mean, it's happening now. Like, I'm not attached to Star Wars like how I used to be. I don't even care anymore, man, to be honest with you. I don't care at all. I'm not as attached as I was to Transformers like I used to be. You know what I'm saying? I'll just watch my favorite version of Transformers. Hey, it's right there on I'll watch, Transformers 1 with Shia LaBeouf. I love that movie. You know what I'm saying? I love it. I'll just watch that one. I'll watch Blade Runner 2049 with Ryan Gosling. That's a personal. That's for me. That's my. When it's raining and I'm up, I'm watching that. That's for me. Oh, I'm in heaven. When Doom come out on Blu-ray X9X Zeke, I'm getting Doom 1 and 2. These are the movies. I have my film. If I could go back right now, I'll watch Fight Club. I don't have to tell you. I have a personal favorite movie. It's on Netflix. It's called Revolver. It's with Jason Statham. He doesn't fight throughout the whole film. To me, one of his best movies. It's about gambling and the art of outwitting your opponent. But the way it's told, it's not even focusing on that. You just kind of pick it up throughout the storyline. You know what I'm saying? Fabulous movie. Amazing movie. I know we're not going to get a season of One Punch Man season 1. I'll just watch that season over, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just not. We just not. You think I waste my time watching the new Pokemon? No, I'm going to watch the Pokemon Generations. I'm going to watch that whole thing in the collective on YouTube, and then just call it a day, man. This generation blessed to get new revamped episodes of One Piece on Netflix.
That's going to be interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right. It may not be for us. That's going to be very interesting. I do not see that going well, but that's a topic for another time.
You know what I'm saying? But you funny, killing me. But yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem. Am I gonna play the Gotham Avengers? No, I'll just play Arkham City, Arkham Knight, and Arkham Origins. You know what I'm saying? I'm not complaining. I still play Devil May Cry 3. I'm at peace. I'm at peace. Like, they can have it. Like, I'm not gonna really cry as an old man anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because my goal is to make what I like. And my mindset is not to adopt the mentality of my forefathers. They didn't have room to think like we can. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they just weren't around people that were progressive thinkers. So I walk into men from the 60s all the time, and there's stuff I'm like, yo, you're a what engineer? You still work there? Yeah, I finally figured out the formula last week. You're welcome, generation of life. You feel me? I just built the arc reactor yesterday. You're welcome. Yeah, it took me 97 years to do it, but I did it. You know what I'm saying? This is someone. And this man could pick up. He can still jump and not say, "Oh, my back hurts." You know, and he's supposed to be the most recessive genes. That's what people say, but he alive and kicking. His German is impeccable. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm just saying, it's just it's all on, yeah, I have no intention of letting my property go away like Hanna-Barbera and just vanish. I'm going to find a pupil. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna pray to heavens that I find a Joshua. I'm gonna pray to the heavens that I find Jeremiah or an Elijah. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna just let this squander. That's not the purpose. My goal right now is to be able to communicate to the kids in a manner of which they can understand how I came to that realization when I used to see my parents' favorite properties. You know what I'm saying? If you look at an Alfred Hitchcock film today, you'll be like amazed. You're like, yo, what camera did this man use? And you'll find out that none of the footage was tampered with. This is not a Blu-ray DVD that I got.
Right.
This is regular. No, this is the film that he used, and that's why it's so that's why it's so crisp. Yo, this happened in the 30s, and you see some of his cuts. Like, there's no way for me to say that I love cinema and not study this guy. It's almost like you not being able to study Romeo and Juliet or Macbeth. Those things they there for a reason. You know what I'm saying? This is where like the 80s era. Look at sci-fi in the 80s, man, or the early late 70s. Look at where their minds were going. Look at Star Wars. Look at who knew to design a ship that way. Who was thinking about this stuff?
People still speak Klingon in Star Trek. Like, they made a whole new language.
It's
like sci-fi pig's Latin.
Yeah, sci-fi.
It's
and then that's basically where my heart is on that matter. But we just have to do the progression in a good way. But we're not progressing. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Like, look at Boruto and look at Naruto. It's not a progression, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not a progression. And it's crazy that my students are telling me about episodes of Dragon Ball Z.
I'm telling you, I told y'all, every time I walk into the grocery store and I see Goku on a Reese's Puff box, I'm like, what year is it? Like, where am I?
You're 5 years old. How are you talking about Goku the same way I was talking about Goku? It doesn't make any sense. There's a foundation there. And as much as I used to crap on Fist of the North Star, bruh, that story raw. As much as I used to crap on Fist of the North Star, that story is raw.
Tim, let me get your closer thoughts, bro.
But I was like, yo, kid, dog just touched you one time, you die. I'm like, come on, I ain't watching. But look, everybody, Omaewa no Shinuri. You know what I'm saying?
Still got that meme of him popping out the bush.
Oh man, that's my favorite, boy. Yeah. Oh, and then when they play the 50 Cent music, the Young Buck, Judy music. Oh, it's the greatest.
Tim, what are your closing thoughts for this next generation, and as we pass on our torch of our beloved childhood? How are you going to approach it?
I would definitely say, instill principles. Yes, of course. And that comes from experience and what we've seen, and then just what comes from the heart. But overall, time will tell, because one thing about the next generation is they're going to put their own spin on it. And now, in terms of progression, that's also sometimes a very tricky word, because we are prime examples. Progression to us is much different from what our parents had. Look at what we chose as careers or passions or things that we want to devote our life to. You're an actor. Jory is an artist. I'm a filmmaker. I got a whole hospitality degree on my wall collecting dust, collecting the most absolute dust. So, the progression, it changes. But I do understand Jory's point about certain foundational things. And they will be tested over time. They will be tested. But I would also, what I also tell the next generation is, don't be afraid to try something new. Because we also need new things. Because you got to realize that, yes, after time, it's been stretched for too long. You got to be able to create something that the next set of children after you could look to you and say, "Wow, this is beautiful."
But it does start though. Like look at Yo Gabba Gabba and look at like Nick Jr. There's not one clone. It's this new show that the kids are going crazy for. You know what I'm saying? And I think they have the creativity there. But once that at a certain age, I guess they keep regurgitating. Certain thing. But for like the Nick Jr. era, you can go back and Nick Jr. now doesn't look like Nick Jr. in the past, and then you can see none of the shows are the same. Yeah, you could bring back Blue's Clues, but that's pretty much it.
But I think that's okay, right? Like I think,
and that's fine. But there's creativity there. They're trying new things.
Yeah,
and I think
I think for me, like closing wise, like I think that it's like a mixture of both of your guys' opinions of like I want to make sure the foundations are still there or accessible at the very least, but I also want to be able to take my foot off enough to let the next generation enjoy what they enjoy. Like I was having a conversation with a coworker the other day, and obviously she's younger, so we're having a conversation about Nickelodeon in particular. And I was like, the Nickelodeon I was exposed to, there was no live TV. The only live TV we had was Tales from the Crypt, the most terrifying thing you've ever seen in your entire life. Everything else was a cartoon, right? But her generation was iCarly, right? What's this called? Just like all the live Nickelodeon shows back to back to back to back. The things that made Zendaya popular and things like that.
Ned's Declassified was fine.
But that's what I'm saying. What was the one with like the witches of Waverly Place or whatever the case? Like all these little like live TV shows. And to your point, it's just like I didn't really watch them, right? If I was out somewhere or with my younger cousins and they happen to be watching, I'm like, okay, this is different. But it wasn't me being like, how is this Nickelodeon and they ain't showing no like cartoons?
Oh no,
where is Rocket Power? Like I think there's that aspect of like I do want to make sure that I still have that door open for them of like, hey, like to Tim's point is like I want you to have these new elements to kind of do your own thing. But if you ever want to know how this thing got to that point, I got you. Here's these things that like have stood the test of time, and this is why they nostalgia the 90s out more than any other generation prior. Because we had, like you all said, Dora, we had it good. We had peak after peak after peak after peak for a reason. For a reason. So,
everywhere.
But I do think it's I would like to see, it probably won't be Gen Z, but I would like to see a generation that begins to innovate once again. I think Gen Z's thing has been challenging things and forcing a revisit of certain things. But
I don't want to get too grim, kid. But
we're closing out. But I'm just saying, I think every generation plays their part, right? I think millennials, we're going to be that generation of where every couple of generations there's a societal shift. We were the societal shift.
Yeah, boys, we gonna hit the Book of Eli, kid. Potato soup era, sackcloth only, y'all boy. Right? I'm telling you.
Yeah, we were the societal shift. So my hope is that, like Tim said, like once again we'll get to a place where these kids start to think outside the box in a way where I'm like, dang, that is a good idea. I would like to see that come to play. I would like to see, maybe a Jujutsu Kaisen with an actual plot. Right, like the fighting's already there. Some story would be nice too.
or Jujutsu Kaisen with the power system that makes sense.
Right, that too. A coherent power system. The power of friendship not being the key to everything, aka My Hero Academia, aka every shonen anime under the sun. I think we're gonna kind of get to a point, hopefully, of another creative renaissance and
Japanese Ben 10.
Right. I hope it's something where we're not going to continue to just wring that rag dry, right? Continue to get every single last morsel and drip out of these properties that are turning 30 and 40 and 45 years old. Just to
How'd y'all feel about Ganon Might?
Ganon Might?
Yeah. All Might that look like Ganondorf. All Evil, I guess his name is.
Oh, I haven't even seen that trailer yet, bro.
Oh,
Well, you know what? We're gonna have a really good anime topic next week because they just released a
flat,
trailer for season
flat,
7 of My Hero Academia with
flatline.
Stars and Stripes, the female version of All Might in America. Boy, oh boy, I've been waiting. It's like, oh, the last good arc of My Hero. Oh man. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching another episode of the Gamer Podcast or listening to the Gamer Podcast because we are on all major streaming and podcast platforms. Once again, I am Antonius the Gamer. Is Mikkel Smith, Super SSS rank. And we, as always, we thank you guys and we'll see you on our next episode.
Guys, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. We need you.
Yes.
Take care.
And share. Peace.
Yes.